Welcome to the Postgame show here on the SDH Network. John Nelson starting things off with Oglethorpe legend Ryan Marcano. See, I had to put that in there. So, John here, Ryan there. We're starting the Postgame show here, and I know that you wanted a final result one way or the other, but by the time we were done, honors even 2-2. Oglethorpe gets the first two on the board. Then Emory responds with the next two on the board. 2-2. Game had its chances late. Now that this match is over and you've had the sum total of what, about 6 or 7 minutes to think about it, what sticks in your mind?
Lots of drama throughout the game. It was very thrilling. Whoa.
There we go. We'll turn you on.
Wow.
So what'd you think?
Lots of drama throughout the match for sure. Lots of good tackles as we predicted from the beginning of the game. There was a very thrilling contest between the two teams, and I was very pleased to see.
Let's run through some of the names and the numbers. I know that you looking at the Emory side of things, I know that you were impressed with some folks, but going through the shots, 14-11 by the end of the day. Emory had 14 shots, most of those in the second half. They had each team had 9 shots in the second 45 minutes. 14-11 on the board by the time it was done. Saves, pretty even, 4 for Oglethorpe, 3 for Emory on the day. Fouls, you knew it was going to be chippy, 22 total, for sure. 12 for Oglethorpe and 10 for Emory. But
Emory seemed to come off in the second half and really gain momentum and get a hold of the game. As you said, I really did like the way 14 controlled in the midfield. He came off the bench and did a good job for Emory. In the back, Daniel and Ma was putting in couple of good tackles. In the first half, Oglethorpe got off to a strong start, but I feel like they got a little bit comfortable as they got those first 2 goals, and then they settled in and maybe took their foot off the gas a little bit and let Emory gain momentum going into the second half, making it 2-1.
We'll hopefully catch up with John Aiken in just a little bit to get his thoughts on the whole thing. But it seemed like, as you mentioned, Oglethorpe gets the 2 on the board. Mm-hmm. Emory gets the 1 goal on the board in the 38th. It's 2-1 at the break. Late first half and then early second half, Emory had the momentum, it seemed like, and it was Oglethorpe trying to regain the momentum and try to wrestle the match back from Emory in the second half.
Yeah, I feel like the Emory midfield just did a really good job of controlling the ball, the tempo, and getting in different pockets and creating chances playing good through balls for their wingers to get onto and creating chances as a team. Oglethorpe was definitely still threatening in the second half, more just on counter attack opportunities and things like that. Their wingers were definitely threatening, but in the end, it ended up just staying a stalemate 2-2.
Yeah, and you mentioned early on Christian Medina had the opportunity literally in the first 15 seconds of the second 45 to try to get another goal on the board. Then you had that back and forth. We mentioned the goal that happened at 49:01. Then you had Cozine shortly thereafter with his opportunity to the back post. Allram, who had a fantastic game. Ben Allram had 4 shots, 3 of them on target. It's another chance for him coming through. Then once again, that back and forth is there. Oglethorpe ends up with a save in the 26th minute. Then you end up with another header to the back post and a couple of other entries. Yeah. So a couple of guys that stood out, obviously, Christian Medina, J.R. Cozine, and Ben Allram from the Oglethorpe perspective.
Yeah, for sure. Those 3 I feel like are always going to shine in games. Really, those are their 3 reliable players up front that need to have good games, and if they want to have a run in the NCAA tournament later this season, I really think that those 3 players are a key, and if they can stay dynamic and healthy, that Oglethorpe can have a good run later on.
Ryan Marcano there, John Nelson here. We're breaking down the 2-2 draw with Emory and Oglethorpe. Emory now 8-1-3 on the season, came in ranked number 3 in the country for the first time in 20 years. Oglethorpe comes in winning 7 on the spin, 9-1-1 coming in, obviously with the draw now at 9-1-2. What did you think of the atmosphere here tonight? Just under 500 here watching this one.
It was pretty electric. There was definitely, you could tell the fans were into it. like I said, it was chippy throughout the game, and the fans were interactive with the game the entire time. That's for sure. It was good environment for both teams.
Now you got to experience it from this sideline,
yes, sir.
which is it was interesting to see your reactions.
Mhm.
And by the way, for those of you that don't know, go ahead and empty your pocket. Tell them what you were working on here.
I just had a little Skittles as I used to bring.
So you're like Marshawn Lynch? You and Marshawn Lynch with the Skittles?
something like that. I don't know if I took it from him, but I used to definitely bring candy to the sidelines of games just to have a little if I came off for a break or something like that.
Get a bit of a sugar, get the sugar back in your system.
Something like that.
And he was working the Skittles. And I mean he really was. It literally as the game was 2-2 early second half. I'm looking to my right, and I'm seeing this guy duck into his pocket. He's working the Skittles pretty hard, but
I'm embarrassed.
Why?
I'm just kidding.
Everybody has their habit, and you, the player, has not disappeared from you because those habits that you had as a player were here in the second half in a very, very nervous contest.
Yeah, that's for sure. I was on the edge of my seat, and I guess the Skittles were a little bit
right there with you,
right there to ease my nerves.
No doubt. All right. So shots on target. Medina had 3. Cozine had 1 shot. Adrian Levy had a shot. Ben Ulram had 4, 3 on target.
Mm-hmm.
Dylan Bapst had a shot as well. Javier Aponte had a shot. And that was the 11 that were launched by Oglethorpe here in this match. And now as we go forward here, mm-hmm. once again, we talk about that rivalry game. It's like you end up, you duck out, you have this rivalry game, all of this emotion. It ends up as a 2-2 draw, and you're sitting there going, man, I wish I could have had a result here. But you've got to duck back out and go into conference play. Oglethorpe, they've got 2 matches on the road coming up this weekend in Memphis and in Arkansas. So it's like, you play on the weekend. You've got this match on the midweek where it was crazy and had its moments. And legitimately, I think a lot of us thought you were going to have that 5th goal at some point.
Right.
Now you've got to turn around and get back into conference play. And it's a long road trip in a van. And you're sitting there. And now let me ask you this. When you're on the road, with these long road trips, are you taking like the rollers with you and the foam pillows? I mean, how are you negotiating this road trip late in the year?
Oh, I mean, I'm definitely bringing a pillow, blanket, the works for sure. Got to have the headphones too, everything. But yeah, I think being comfortable and being able to sleep and get rest on the bus is important. And recovery is going to be key for the players going forward and making sure they're healthy for the next game.
And no doubt about that, as we turn around, you end up with these matches this weekend. You get the win at Hendricks. I mean, you get the win out of the blocks at Rhodes, and the conference is yours. You're locked up, number 1 seed. Everything's cool. 2 matches to go, and that's what you're hunting for. So it literally is going to be, hopefully, like I said, we'll catch up hopefully with John Aiken coming up in just a little bit, but it's literally – this match was great, but you have to put it to the side. Mm-hmm. And then starting, about 9:15, since it's 9:14.
Right.
At 9:15, you got to make sure everybody is leaving. You undo your tape. I'm seeing guys undoing tape on ankles and wrists.
Oh, yeah.
And just kind of sitting there and letting everything just kind of
taking in
the
game. I really hope the players had a chance to take in and enjoy the environment tonight because it was a nice atmosphere, and it isn't always an opportunity like that where you get to play a top team in the country like that, especially local rivals too.
And at the same time, I think that what this can do, if you're Oglethorpe,
mm-hmm.
is sit there and put the Stormy Petrels out on the national stage. Because if you had a 2-0 lead on the number 3 team in the country,
mm-hmm.
even though it was in your place, and you finish up drawing the number 3 team in the country,
right,
you should at least be in the receiving votes discussion, if not the ranked discussion,
mm-hmm.
to reinforce what happened out here tonight.
I couldn't agree more. It was a respectable game.
Spoken like an Oglethorpe grad.
Yeah. I couldn't agree more though. It's definitely Oglethorpe I feel like hasn't always gotten the respect from the NCAA rankings
mm-hmm.
in the past.
Right.
Not that we deserved it by any means, but just haven't always gotten the respect from it. So it's good to see that we're getting results against top teams this year, and hopefully the committee will see that.
Now, in the pregame show, I wanted to talk to you about your experience in this rivalry.
Mm-hmm.
Now that you've been able to watch it from the track and look at this rivalry now from a bit of a different perspective, how many of those memories from playing in this rivalry were coming back to you other than the Skittles and munching on the Skittles? But I mean, from a playing perspective, as you're sitting there and you're watching your alma mater, chase after things out here against a quality opponent in Emory,
right.
how many flashbacks were you having about what you were experiencing out there?
Definitely lots of flashbacks for me. I thoroughly enjoyed playing against them over the years. At their place here, it was always a great contest, pretty close contest. We never had a blowout either way or the other, but it was always a good rivalry among the teams, and good turnout amongst the crowd too. I don't remember the record number or anything like that, but we definitely had good turnouts on all of those games with them, and the environment was electric, just like it was tonight.
Oglethorpe and Emory 2-2 draw here in Brookhaven for one of the oldest rivalries in the South when it comes to the sport of soccer here on the college level, and it was great to be here tonight and kind of keep an eye on things and kind of sit there and take feverish notes. I mean, literally, you look at my notes. Yeah, I've got 2 pages worth of notes on this game. And it's like, and I can only read my handwriting, so it's like, and it's like, what did you write down, basically? But this, I see how you work. I see that's good stuff. Like I said, we're kind of keeping an eye on coaches and seeing how things drift. We'll see if we can get John over here. He's kind.
You want me to try to get him?
Yeah, I got to try and get him.
All right.
See now. All right. Now this is where
Coach
this is where Ryan grabs him. And Ryan, see now, if we had multiple cameras, it would be an opportunity for us to see Ryan basically mugging teammates and other Oglethorpe grads as he's trying to rope John Aiken into the discussion. So,
drum roll, please,
there we
for one
go.
of the greatest men to ever step foot on Oglethorpe campus, John Aiken.
There we go.
Thank you.
There we go.
Wow.
Marcano was carrying both of us.
Oh, he's got the personality to do that, no problem.
All right. So now that you've had the sum total of 10 minutes to digest what happened out there, if I sat there and I know it's $1 in the jar by dropping a cliche, but hey, it was another Oglethorpe Emory game.
Yeah, I mean it was everything you.
There's your final stats. You want to take a peek?
Final stats.
Yeah.
Let me get my old man glasses, my readers out here, and
All
see.
right.
What was it? 14 to 11.
Yeah.
And as I mentioned to before the game, we're looking to counter and make sure we don't give anything away. They're actually better than I thought, and Corey said that they played a lot better than they thought they were. I mean, I think if Ben scores the breakaway to make it 3-0,
right,
the game's over.
Yeah.
And then we, our goalkeeper Nico played a ball right to the middle, immediately countered, and then we're 2-1. Some belief, and then bits and pieces on the second goal. They had both their goals were good strikes. I thought maybe savable, but you can't take anything away from it. It was a very even game. You look
at this one, and you were kind of thinking that 5th goal was going to be there, especially late with the double corner down here off your right shoulder. You thought that it might have that opportunity at 2-2 for that late chance that was there. It seemed like you had you got to the quarter pole, say the first 20-25 minutes was you. Then momentum changes. Emory ends up getting most of the first half. Then you had the moment 15 seconds in where it could have been 3-1 right there at the beginning of the second half. Then you end up with Emory getting the goal at 49:01.
Right.
Then it's like, okay, 2-2. And then for that final little bit, you guys are just throwing haymakers at each other.
I know. They had a couple chances, some deliveries. I mean, they're a big, strong, typical UAA team. Very difficult to deal with. Some set pieces that could have gone in for them, but I thought most of them we defended pretty well. And then we had some chances that I just, we've got to put away.
You look at this and you got Nico Mejia between the sticks.
Yep.
And just his presence on an evening like this in a rivalry game like this, you need that kind of presence to make sure that things can be calm at the back, especially with the moments with the turnovers, and he's having to defend almost immediately.
Yeah. I think candidly, Nico is a very calming presence. He's a very calm person outside the field, and he's been an unbelievable goalkeeper. But I thought that maybe he got a little nervous. It probably didn't appear that way to the normal viewer.
Yeah.
But a couple missed kicks here, and it's his first nationally ranked. Well, I take that back. It's his second nationally ranked game, but one with probably bigger implications than he's ever been a part of, and against a really good team. So, not to take anything away from Emory, but I think if he's a little bit sharper, in more kicking game, and this is just coaches being super critical. But from an entertainment standpoint, I mean, I'm certainly a few days older than I was when I woke up this morning, but from an entertainment value, that was an unbelievable soccer game. I mean, tactically, how does a 3-5-2 match up against a 4-3-3 with really good wingers? Thomas Toney the Emory player happened to tell one of our coaches, he said, listen, we played Mary Washington and you guys are better than them. And they're number 2 and just lost to Messiah, who's number 1. So I think that was a lot. I think it was a validation of what we're capable of. I think that our team has to internalize that and bring that standard of play anytime we show up. And if we do that, we have that kind of energy, enthusiasm, and great soccer moments, and we add a little bit more, we could put ourselves back in the tournament and maybe make a deep run.
No, and you were working down the left-hand side, and if you look at the goals, it almost seemed like it points that Ben Alrum wasn't accounted for.
Yeah.
And you're sitting there going, yeah, that's cool. We'll remember that.
Right.
But it just seemed like all of the activity that you were working down the left-hand side, Ben comes in, back post, and he's just there, and he's ready to camp out. We all legitimately thought that he had a brace, that it wasn't an OG with the second one.
Yeah.
But, he just seemed like he was able to find space, find opportunities, and he ends up with the first 2 on the board, or at least pieces of the first 2 anyway.
Yeah. I think those are we have very good players in a lot of different areas, but our wingers are very special, and they proved it tonight. And collectively as a team, we've just got to be more lethal, because we could have put the number 3 team, out of reach if the third one would have gone in. Yeah. I mean, in the first 20 minutes of the game, it's I'm disappointed in not collecting all of it, but satisfied with the fact that, hey, if they're putting this team up there, to be number 3 in the country, that we need to be a part of the conversation. I'm not sure we're not, why we're not. I think it has something to do with the strength of schedule, but we've been doing this for a while. Soccer in the South needs to garner some more respect nationally. There are a lot of great teams up in the Northeast, but we've been growing for a while, and Oglethorpe and Emory's rivalry has been going on for 60-something years. In the last 10 years, we've turned up the heat. So I'd like to see both of us getting, the recognition that they've been getting.
Yeah, so basically, you're reading my notes. Was the follow-up question was to ask about this idea of you draw the number 3 team in the country, but you're not even in the RVs. And to me, that seems like, once again, this is not meant to be any kind of a slight toward the Northeast or the West.
Sure.
And, knowing that D3 in the West,
Right.
you think of all the Muds and all the Claremonts and all that kind of stuff, it's going to be there. But it just seems like when it comes to soccer in the South, it might just be like looking at things nationally, that it's almost like they want to eat the one thing on their plate at a time.
Yeah.
They don't want to mix their food. It's like,
Right.
okay, it's like, I'm going to eat this first, and then we'll get to something else. Once I've finished that, I'll get to the next thing.
Yeah. And there's a part of that there are so many Division III schools, and good Division III schools in the Northeast. They can travel within an hour or 2 of each other and get nationally ranked games.
Right.
There are very few top end teams like an Oglethorpe or an Emory in the South. There are some, and I think the game is getting better, but we logistically can't travel that. That's the reason why the UAA put so many teams in the tournament. Their league play, all those teams are on different parts of the board for the NCAA tournament. So I think I'd like to continue to talk about this narrative about getting more respect for soccer in the South. And we're newer to the party than some of these schools that have been doing it, since the 50s in Division III.
Yeah.
But anybody who watched tonight's game realizes that there's some really, really high level stuff going on out there, and some players, youth players, high school players. If you're thinking about playing college soccer, look at Oglethorpe's schedule, look at Emory's schedule, and come watch out and watch us and see, if you think you can grow into be a player like that, because it's a very easy opportunity to come to a game that costs nothing and find out, hey, that's the standard, and and it's a high one.
When it comes to recruiting from your standpoint and perspective, I mean, it's not all local.
Right.
I mean, there are dudes with passports that are involved in this.
Yeah.
For those that don't know, how is recruiting? How do you accomplish recruiting on a worldwide stage now for Division III?
Without having internationals, we have some internal aid. And do you mean specifically Division III?
Yeah.
There are so many good players in Georgia. I mean, so many good players. There were several high-level youth teams that came out tonight to watch the game. Some of their teammates play for Emory. Some of their teammates play for us. We don't have to go outside of Atlanta, Georgia, the greater area to find those talented players. And we try to spend our time here for financial reasons. A lot of kids in state get more aid,
right,
even at private schools. And it's just about convincing those players who have Division I opportunities that, hey, you can start maybe for us as opposed to waiting on the bench at a really elite Division I school.
Right.
And, there are players, there's 2 starting 11 teams. I mean, I think Stetson had a kid that started at Emory had a kid that started at Stetson. Thomas Toney, a local guy, is coming in for his 5th year at Emory, was a 4-year starter at Yale.
Mm-hmm.
We've got guys that were Siena, Binghamton, some transfers. So it's finding the right mix of local Atlanta talent and greater Georgia talent, and then mixing in some of those guys that maybe were a better fit for overall, from the transfer portal.
Okay. And that was just a question that I had when it came to figuring out recruiting on a D3 level here in the state of Georgia. By the way, the throat coat tee that was left in your stacks, that was me.
Okay. Thank you. I'm going to need that.
And that was why I put
that. No, not non-caffeine, I hope, because I didn't sleep last night before this game, and if I have some caffeine, I'm probably not going to sleep tonight.
No, I mean, and like I said, it is warm and it will help things out. And Jason and I swear by it. I figured with as much yelling as you did tonight, you'll need it.
Oh my gosh! With you guys are like throat professionals. I mean,
we're throat professionals, Jason.
Listen, you use that, and you get you know how to get back on the air quickly, and I think. I'm going to lose mine by the end of the night, and I'll need that medicine to get back up and coach again tomorrow.
Well, that and the road trip coming up too.
Yep.
Where you've got some stuff going on in Tennessee.
Yep.
You got Rhodes. You got Hendricks.
Rhodes. If we win Friday against Rhodes, we'll win the league, and our first round game will be here, and then the Final Four, if we win that game, will be hosted here at Oglethorpe. We're going to try to do that for not only our team, because that's our goal, but for the community to get those games. It'll be exciting.
John, thanks for hanging out.
Thank you, sir.
It's always fun. John Aiken, head coach of Oglethorpe, on the 2-2 draw tonight. I will steal this from you.
Thank you.
And go like decompress.
Oh yeah. There's a beverage in there for sure. I don't think it's going to be the tea.
Sean Aiken, throat coat tea. He is really going to be doing that. So don't break everything. You're just like stepping all over everything. And so he's got stuff that he's going to be paying attention to. Remember, Jason has Atlanta soccer tonight coming up, 92.9 The Game on the Odyssey app. It's going to be from here. We're going to be breaking stuff down once again, look at the 2-2 draw and everything else going on when it comes to Atlanta United. So great work once again by everybody here on the Oglethorpe campus to help us, to make sure that you guys can really get the full experience when it comes to one of the great rivalries here in the Southeast and the state of Georgia when it comes to the sport of soccer. 2-2 draw tonight. First 2 goals on the board to Oglethorpe. Then next 2 goals on the board come to Emory. And so once again, Emory comes into this one ranked number 3 in the country for the first time in 2 decades. Oglethorpe holds them to a 2-2 draw. And you thought that other opportunity might be there for that 5th goal, especially late as we were talking to Coach Aiken just a little bit ago. But once again, great statement for soccer in the South and also for rivalries here in the South and especially here in the Atlanta area. So it was a fun one tonight on the Oglethorpe Sports Network, gopetrels.com, and for all of you that were a part of it, however you were listening to us tonight, whether it was here on the SDH app, whether it was on SDH social media channels, or whether it was at gopetrels.com for Jason and the match itself. So once again, Ben Allrum scores his 9th of the year at 316 from Cozine and Levy. Then, like I said, we thought Allram got the brace, but they credited it as an own goal at 18:36. Oglethorpe gets the 2-0 lead. Then at 38:03, toward the end of the first half, Alejandro Gomez gets his 4th assist from Alex Mills. And then at 49:01, Sebastian Rincon with his first of the season. And it was listed as unassisted. And that was how it finished. 2-2 draw here in Brookhaven tonight. So for Jason, for everybody here at SDH, for everybody here at Oglethorpe, Coach John Aiken, all the athletic department, once again, thanks for hanging out with us here on the postgame show. Don't forget Atlanta Soccer tonight coming up in short order with Jason. He'll break everything down for you. And at 9:05 tomorrow morning, we'll be back at it on Soccer Down here, where we will go through everything that's going on in the world. There's a lot going on in the world. And so we go through the news of the morning, go through all of that, get you ready for international play, get you ready for the matches on the weekend. Dylan Butler hopefully joining us at 10 o'clock to give his perspectives on Major League Soccer. Bart Keeler from the Soccer for You SPOD should be joining us at 10:30 for his activity, where he's going to be looking at what's going on with U.S. national teams on the youth side, on the women's side, on the men's side. There's news there with some announcements for personnel. So keep an eye on there. So Bart Keeler for the Soccer for US POD at 10:30. Dylan Butler joining us at 10 o'clock. Hopefully you'll be joining us at 9:05 as we break everything down in the sport of soccer. So once again, full night here on SDH. Don't forget Atlanta Soccer tonight coming up in short order, 92.9 The Game on the Odyssey app. And all of this stuff will be on the SDH network in all of its different forms across all of our social media channels if you want to listen to the pre and the post game show that we had here tonight. Once again, the hospitality for everybody here at Oglethorpe. Great stuff. And once again, thanks to everybody there. Thanks to everybody there as I point to the camera for those of you watching on the video side. So for once again, everybody here at SDH, everybody here at Oglethorpe. 2-2 draw tonight, Oglethorpe and Emory. And I'm just Johns saying play it safe, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your evening. We'll be back at it again in short order. We'll be back at it again 9:05 tomorrow morning on the SDH network. Mucha Platiel, play it safe. We'll catch up with you soon.